Hello, everybody. What is up? Welcome back to Rich Artist Fridays. If you're here for the first time, if you're new here, my name is Sophia. I'm the founder of the Rich Artist Program, where we spend 30 minutes each Friday where I give you guys input and sometimes I do story times to break the stigma of the starving artist lifestyle and to counteract gatekeeping in the fashion and beauty industry, specifically commercial photography. If you're somewhere around in that realm, this is definitely for you. Besides the classes on Friday, sorry guys, I'm still waking up. Today's the day. Besides the Rich Artist Fridays, which are our quickest little free sessions just for input for anybody that wants it, we do workshops. We also do every once in a while these types of master classes, which is what we're in right now. Today is week 4 out of 4 weeks. But if you missed the first 3 sessions, don't worry, they're all individual topics, but all surrounding the same topic, so we can spend a whole month, shining a light on different areas of a bigger topic that I think is on everybody's mind, which is, how to land clients, how to land commercial brands, how to start collaborating with brands. And then we also do one-on-one. So if that's something you're looking for in your career, hit me up, slide into my DMs. I have free coaching consultations where we can sit down and take a look at how I can actually accompany you guys in your career, because I wish I would have had that when I was starting out. So we cover topics from everywhere, from how to shoot campaigns for brands, which is what we're talking about right now, but also how to grow an audience on social media, if that's what you desire, a larger visibility, a bigger audience to showcase your work, and to interact with maybe a community that you dream of building, how to level up your work to the degree that you're capable of, because otherwise you wouldn't be here, right? I myself interned and assisted famous photographers, as well as working on my own career over the last, obviously I stopped assisting a couple of years ago, but that's sort of how I started out in the industry, and I gained so much insight and knowledge into how the industry works, and I had no idea before I ever started assisting and interning. And I know a lot of you guys might not have the capacity to spend that kind of time or get access to the kind of experiences that I might have had. So I figured, why not share them with everybody? Because I think we all get a takeaway from what I maybe had to learn or the mistakes I had to make. And yeah, so I'm here to share all of that with you guys. And throughout my career, I've held literally every single job position you could think of. I've been a production assistant, I've been a lighting tech, I've been a digitech. I worked as a studio manager, so I've seen the administrative side behind an artist's career. And I've been a professional retoucher. And then I somehow got roped into modeling as well. So I've stood on the other side of it, which I personally think makes me a better photographer, just to see how truly vulnerable those positions are of the talent that we're asking to perform for us. And obviously I didn't do it all on my own as well. Throughout my career, I've been supported by really amazing people that are exceptional at what they do, like agents, producers, art directors, marketing companies, and worked with business coaches, financial advisors, accountants, interns, assistants, and obviously mentors. So I get to pull a lot of knowledge and experience from all different corners of the career that I have built, and I want to give you guys access to that. So that's what the program is here for. And before we jump into our topic of the day, next week we're coming up on 1 year of Rich Artist Fridays. We've done 52 weeks consistently of Rich Artist Fridays. So we're doing a big party next week. It's going to be a longer session, probably like an hour, maybe a little bit more. And I'm raffling out portfolio reviews for 2 lucky winners. So if you want me to review your portfolio on the session, then grab a ticket on the Eventbrite. I will be sending out emails to everybody that, if you've ever attended one, you're already on my mailing list. And if you're not, then you can sign up for that on my website as well. And if you purchase a free ticket for next week's session, then you're automatically entered into the raffle to get your portfolio reviewed. And otherwise, just like tune in and just, have fun, and maybe we'll reminisce about some of the cool things we've done in the last year. Okay, so today, I know the title of this week's topic is so dry. We're talking about effective marketing and promotional strategies. And now when I was sitting down to take notes on the session, I was like, oh God, I don't even know if I personally would tune into a session like this. Even though we all know it's so important. So I applaud you guys for tuning in. I see you guys on Instagram Live. Hi, thanks for being here, and give yourself a big pat on the back. So I'm going to try to make this as non-boring as possible. And maybe this will just give you a new angle to start viewing the topic. Maybe it'll give you a little bit of inspiration and motivation to put yourself out there, or to find a little bit more consistency in what you're already doing, because guys, it really is one of the number one money-making activities in your business. It is one of the most important things to remember to force yourself to do. And I have to take a page out of my own book here. It is one of the things that I have to consistently train myself to, just keep at it. Keep at it, because I think a lot of us think that it shouldn't be part of our job, or that we can somehow get around not needing to take responsibility in this category of putting ourselves out there and actually approaching the clients that we want to work with. However, unfortunately, that is never the case. That is never the case, unless you already have a bunch of agents that are doing it for you. And I want you guys to, like, all the power to you if that is your goal. And I know you can eventually, but you need to know how to do this yourself. And realistically, I think the thing that is stopping most artists from doing more marketing and more promotional activities is not the I don't know how to. It's somewhat of a mindset that needs to be reset. At least that was the case for me. And when I started working with a business coach, I realized, like, oh, it's not that I'm not a good enough artist, or I'm not established enough, or I don't know the right kind of people, why I'm not getting commercial work. It's because nobody knows I exist. The people that matter, the people that I want to work with, they have no idea that I exist, that my work is out there, and it is so easy to trick yourself to think that, if your work is up to par, then these people will automatically magically find you because the work is good enough. That is never the case. I had thousands of followers on Instagram, and still, I wasn't attracting the jobs that I wanted to. And then as soon as I started having more consistency of putting myself out there and of emailing these people consistently, that's when all of a sudden I realized, hey, there was clients out there that needed somebody exactly like me. They were in exactly the right time frame in their business where they were looking for photographers, and I just so happened to be in the right place at the right time and sent the right kind of email for them to be like, hey, let's chat, and obviously it's a little bit more complicated than that, but like that's sort of what it boils down to. So for me, first of all, it needed a shift in mindset of, like, if I force myself to send these emails, if I force myself to do things that might seem a little bit out of my comfort zone, or that might even make me a little bit uncomfortable in the beginning because I'm not used to doing them yet, that is the only way that I am even setting myself up to have a chance here, and to then ultimately start experiencing some success through it. And then when I started getting replies, when I started being able to set up Zoom meetings with these clients, and even if you end up meeting one of these clients, it doesn't mean that tomorrow you're going to get hired on their campaign. Some of these outreach things that I've done, it was like a year and a half later until I started to actually do jobs with these clients. It takes patience, but first of all, it takes a little bit of faith. So I wanted to lay that groundwork here to get you guys to realize that I'm not here to just like teach you strategies. What's more important for me is for this to be a little bit of a wake-up call for all freelance artists out there that think that they can somehow cheat their way around having to deal with this topic, because that was me for a long time. Okay, let me just see real quick what you guys are saying in Instagram Live. Hi, Sol. Rich Artist Fridays took us all by your side as if we were your shadow on set. I wish I could bring you guys on set with me, because I've seen you guys comment that would be really cool. And I've had people like ask me if I could ever do workshops, which I haven't really allowed myself to consider yet, because that seems like a whole other beast. But I actually, the other day I was thinking, I was like, can I bring the Instagram Live on one of my sets and just prop you guys up, or hand you guys to one of my interns and be like or like mount like a GoPro on my camera, because the one thing that I wish I could show you guys is like what I'm looking at while I'm actually doing my work. So maybe that'll be for year 2 of Rich Artist Fridays. Kind of annoying to have been through 4 years of uni and learned the proper gems of being a photographer on the last 52 weeks through your program. I mean, that is sort of the reason why I started the program, because I could not believe how useless I felt when it came to running my own business. And Sola and I went to college together, so we got the exact same education, like where was this kind of stuff? And like, I get it, the college that we went to, and I'm sure a lot of you guys as well, if you have a art degree, they're there to turn you into conceptualized, critically thinking artists. They're not there to turn you into business people or entrepreneurs. And unfortunately, oftentimes we're sort of left to our own devices to establish that for ourselves. So that's what this is here for, because I would have needed this. All right, let's talk about emails real quick. I've done a video about outreach where I like truly break it down, and I showed you guys my Google Sheets of how I track my outreach. The other day I came across a video from Lindsay Adler. I don't know if you guys know her. She has like 500,000 followers on social media. She's a photographer, but she also has a teaching program. And she said in one of her videos, she was like, one of the things that she wishes she would have started doing earlier in her business, or she would have known earlier in her business, is to take 2 to 3 days a month to focus on promotion and marketing. And, take her word for it. Don't take my word for it. But I agree that when it comes to marketing, consistency is the most important thing. And also finding a way to sort of do it in a mindless way where you take your emotions out of it. You take your, like, whether you're motivated to do it, whether you feel inspired to do it, out of it, and just do it regardless. Because so many days we're looking for proof of what we're doing is fruitful. And if you're waiting for the motivation through seeing results to do it, you're never going to end up doing it. And I think this is one of the biggest downfalls for artists, where we're like, oh, I got one client. Okay, now I'm motivated to send emails to more clients. But what you really need to be doing is sending the emails when nobody's coming to knock on your door, but not in the sense of like, oh my God, now I'm panicking, I'm not getting any work, I have to send 150 emails today. It's more like, regardless of whether you're in a higher, like a high rate of your career, or you're at like a low point of incoming jobs, you need to be doing this kind of work. So I've shown you guys, like, I have a list of brands that I want to work with, and I dedicate specific days to doing research on new brands. So this can be something fun that you do as well. Just be like, okay, this day I'm not sending out any emails yet. I'm just snooping around the internet, looking for new brands that sort of catch my eye, that I find interesting, or where you're looking at their website and you're like, I could contribute to this. Like, I could bring something to the table here. And then also obviously put clients on your list where you're like, they're already killing it, but I'd love to be part of that, and then have dedicated days where you're sending out emails, have your follow-up emails sort of ready to go in, I always say, like 7 to 10 working days after you sent the initial email. Like, genuinely track your follow-up. I do my follow-ups with a video of myself attached, and I know this is like one of the corniest things I've ever forced myself to do, and my business coach like had to like whoop me into doing this. But I found that it's actually a genius idea to get people's attention. Like, under 60 seconds, just be like, here is who I am, this is what I care about in my work, and this is why I want to work with brands like yours. Or this year, I'm specifically targeting brands like this and this. And like, write it down, make yourself a little script, learn it by heart, so that when you're saying it to the camera, and I know this takes a little bit of getting used to, you can say it with heart. It doesn't matter if you're perfect at like singing in front of a camera and filming a promotional video. Like, I don't want you guys to be sitting there in suit and tie and becoming these like phony marketing people, but people need to see your face. People need to have heard your name, and people need to recognize that you are a person, because brands ultimately are also just made up of people that are having their 9 to 5 office job. And if they get to watch a 60-minute video, a 60-second video of somebody, it leaves a much better and stronger lasting impression than the tens or hundreds of emails from artists that they get every single day that are so like dry and cold and just like black on white text being like, hey, I'm a photographer, here's my website, I want to work with you. we all sort of know that that doesn't really work, unless like every once in a while, you really get lucky. But I'm trying to give you guys options of like how to get creative here. And then after you've sent a follow-up email, also, if you don't get a reply back, and I say this to my one-on-one coaches all the time, I have to literally drill it into them. And no reply is not a no. And no reply oftentimes is maybe they didn't see it. Maybe they saw it. They didn't even have time to read it because there are so many other things that are higher up on the priority list of what they're doing internally in their business. Or maybe they saw it and they were like, oh, okay, I'm gonna remember that for later. Maybe they'd flagged it. Maybe they even forgot to flag it. Then they see your follow-up and they're like, oh, there's that photographer again. Yes, I meant to put that in the right folder, stash it away for later when the need comes up. They don't have time to reply to you. Then the third follow-up comes and they're like, oh, wow, okay, this person is really consistent. So they're not just like blasting out their emails to like hundreds of brands. They have taken notice of us and they are specifically targeting us. Guys, that's flattering to any brand, okay? Like brands want to be taken like notice of as well. So oftentimes, like my first follow-up is the video. The second follow-up will be like, I loved your new campaign. I love the casting in your new campaign. I think you guys are killing it. You guys are exactly in alignment with the sort of stuff that my work stands for. Like, let's do a 20-minute Zoom coffee date. Like, I just want to say hi to you and hear about what you're doing in your brand. Like, it doesn't always have to be you selling yourself. You're literally just looking for connection. And we talked about networking last week as well. So sort of get in that mindset of like, hey, I see you guys, and like interact with them on social media that way as well. Slide into their DMs and be like, this, like, you're killing it. Like your reels literally live rent-free in my brain. Like I love the content you're putting out there. Like, who runs your marketing department? I'd love to introduce myself. Like try to reach actual people. Like in my Google Sheets that I showed you guys once, where I have like the brand, then I have the day that I initially wrote the email to them, then I have like the day that I followed up to them, whether I got a reply or not. I started sort of cataloging the contacts that I'm getting at brands as well. So writing down like the name of the person, what position they have in the company, and then their email, because ultimately I'd like to sort of build a master spreadsheet of contacts as well in the industry. And it's good to sort of put a face to the name too. Like look these people up on LinkedIn, like, make sure that you are talking to an actual person, that you're getting to know these people, because no matter whether it's $1 billion brand or a boutique apparel brand that just started, ultimately interpersonal connections is what gets you through the door. So much for emails. Obviously, there's so much more to say about this. I want to talk about leveraging your social media, because we're not just talking about marketing, we're talking about like promotional strategies in general. Following the right kind of people on social media and interacting with the right kind of people on social media is something that can be a huge asset. I know when I mention social media, a lot of people are like so exhausted by the idea. Maybe you think that, your social media is by no means big enough, or you don't have a big enough following, or you're not active enough on social media to be able to utilize it. That is such a lie, okay? Because it doesn't, ultimately, yes, you can have a lot of followers, and that way you're casting a very wide net into hopefully a community of people that are already the right target audience. But that's only 1 out of 3 ways to sort of do outreach and do networking. Like you can do very targeted outreach, which is from one person to another, which would be like the email thing of like, hey, I'm here, I want to work with you. You can cast a net where you're sort of putting your work out there, you're building a platform of visibility, you're promoting your work, and you're hoping that you magically reel in people that are like, hey, I want you to do that for my brand. It can happen that way sometimes. I have landed campaigns that way. Or you can sort of ask people for referrals as well. So that's sort of like a 2-step targeted promotional strategy. So I think social media is perfect to sort of do that. As long as you have your work on your page, it doesn't matter if you have like 500 followers. Like you can still be a person that stands out through interactions with these brands. Social media managers oftentimes maybe have little bit more capacity to interact with artists before you ever end up working with them, because the art director is not going to be hanging around on the social media account unless it's a really small brand. Then oftentimes you have like the founder running the social media or something like that. But I think what's more important than like being verified or having thousands of followers on social media in order to stand out, because I think most people think that that's like the only way that you can actually like have your Instagram be an asset rather than an embarrassment. And I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I know that I even feel like that about my social media sometimes. Is, can you be personable? Can you be authentic? Can you specifically look at content, consume content, and interact with it in a way that makes you stand out over a crowd of people that are like, yes, flame emoji, just like these people are still individual people that are putting thought behind the content that they're working really hard to put out there. And yes, they have a large following of people that are just consuming, and that's like obviously how they draw in customers, but you don't have to be a customer in the way that you interact with them. You can be an artist, an equal, a colleague, a future colleague, or a future collaborator, and interact with them in that way. Like, put yourself in a position where you're like, I am the right person for this brand to work with. And like, I really don't care if this is $1 billion brand. You have to sort of talk to these people in a way that you're already like, hey, like, we're on the same wavelength. Like, let's connect, let's work together. And like, I don't care if you have 500 followers. It's an attitude thing. Okay. So, leave comments, DM them being like, hey, like, this is so sick. Like, I'm dying to work with you. Like, the other day I DM'd a brand. I was like, and like, I had been following them and like, like liking their stuff. And then I saw something that they were doing and I literally just DM'd them. I was like, this is so sick. I am dying to work with you. I didn't even like say, I'm a photographer. Who runs your marketing? Nothing. I literally just said that. And they DM'd back. They were like, don't die, but like, let's talk. And I was like, oh, okay. So I think the way that you approach people matters too, right? Building your reach, collaborating with industry influencers, and I'm not talking about Instagram models, I'm talking about people with influence. I have a friend in Berlin who is a photographer, and she started photographing people that have a large platform, that are speaking on social issues that are sort of represented in her own work, and her following exploded. Now, I'm not saying like just go and photograph famous people, but know that it's okay to leverage other people's reach. Like, for a long time, I felt like that was cheating. I was like, that's literally cheating, like we've all seen photographers that literally just have famous people in their portfolio, and you're like, are they even a good photographer? Like, but like, in the end of the day, who cares? If you're looking to grow your following and you're looking to have more of that like sort of cast a net sort of marketing strategy, like start DMing people that have the right sort of following, that you would like, you're like, oh, I want the people that follow this person to follow me, and start shooting those people, because ultimately visibility online is everything if we're talking about social media and like building a platform and marketing yourself in that way. I think it's a genius idea, and ultimately, if you can find people that have a good reach that you are still personally interested in working with, I'm not saying like work with people that you have nothing in common with and that you're just like, I don't even care to take your picture. Like, but don't be shy to reach up the ladder in terms of like visibility and reach, and leverage what other people have built for themselves. That's not using people. That's like I said, people don't know you exist yet. And you have to allow yourself to put yourself out there in a way that you can allow them to discover you. Okay. So whatever way you choose to do that, start doing it now and start doing it consistently. Okay. Expand your reach. There's so many other ways that you might have fun venturing into new corners of the industry where you are not yet represented. So maybe it's sending outreach emails to like artist platforms or artist collectives and asking to be on their panel, or doing guest appearances at one of their events, or just getting invited to some of their networking events as well. Maybe give a guest lecture at your old college. You know, for me, for example, I love teaching, so those are sort of new realms where I'm like, hey, that's where I could start showing up. Like, where are the students? Like, where do people hang out that are looking to expand their photography business? Like, what are corners of the industry that I haven't really yet tapped into? And see what excites you, obviously. Become visible in every single way, and the mindset really is what lays the foundation for it. The truth about consistency is that it is one of the areas of your business where you will have to discipline yourself. And I didn't want to hear that for a long time. And I thought that if it doesn't come naturally to me, then it's probably not authentic to who I am as an artist. But I'm here to teach you guys how to strike a balance between being a business owner and being an artist, and that you can find an authentic way of doing both, and that one support is in support of the other. And actually, one can't really happen without the other. You know, we all want the flexible lifestyle, the wild creativity, the intuitive way of working and of growing success, but structure and consistency is the backbone to spontaneity and to freedom. And I had to learn that the hard way, you know? So I hope this is a little bit of a wake-up call for you guys. I hope that it also just motivated you a little bit to find a way that you can step into that role, start identifying yourself with it. Like, if you can get into a mindset of like, I love putting myself out there, I love connecting with new people, I love reaching out to people because I'm okay with who I am as a person that is wanting to put myself out there, that is wanting to make their own luck in my success and wanting to take control of the direction that I steer my career into. If you can put yourself in that position, it makes it a little bit easier. And in the beginning, it might not feel authentic right away, but if you do it consistently for a while, I think you will find a way to be yourself in it as well, and to sort of integrate it into your identity as an artist and as a creative. And it is literally the best thing for your career that you could possibly do. Let me see the chat real quick. What tools do you use to record your 60-second intro videos? I just film it on my phone. I just set it up on my phone, and then just the only thing for me was that I needed to like have it written out and have my key points, because if you only have like 50 seconds, you want to hit your 5 key points, and then you want to record it a couple times where you don't just sound like you're just like you learned it by heart and then now you're like performing it. You want to say it in a way as if you're talking to a person. So that, like, what helps me sometimes is like picturing a client that I once had that I felt very comfortable with, that I felt like they really liked me, they really appreciated me, and I just sort of pretend like I'm talking to that person. Like, picture a client that is already dying to work with you. They love what you're about. They are so interested. They're like, that's exactly who we've been looking for. Talk to that person, because ultimately that is your ideal client anyways. And if you can find a way to sort of talk to them, talk in the right way that would be attractive to them, that's how you then attract the right kind of client. Yeah, so take a little look at your mindset. Maybe some things came up for you when I was talking about this, that made you want to run for the winds. And yeah, that's all I have for you guys. That wraps up our master workshop on how to land a commercial client, mastering the art of. I hope you guys like this sort of what's the word, like this structure. Let me know if you guys want me to do another like month dedicated to a certain topic. Slide into my DMs on Instagram and suggest topics that you guys want me to talk about. But for now, next week we're wrapping up the 1 year of Rich Artist Fridays, and then I'm sure we have a lot of fun new things coming in the new year. Is shooting the same things really important for potential clients to be attracted? What do you mean the same things? I think it is important to find somewhat of a niche of something that you can be known for, because that makes it easier for clients to know what they're hiring you for, because they want to hire experts. Now, you can be an expert in a broader field of photography, but I think it's important to have consistency in a certain area, whether it's style, you can shoot lots of different subjects in the same style, or the sort of subject that you shoot. But you have to be sort of narrowed in one way or another. Makes it easier to attract clients. I hope that answered your question. Okay, everybody, sign up for next week. Join us for the party, and I will see all of you then. I love you guys so much. Bye, everybody on the Instagram Live.